Hello everyone, welcome back to Potty Planet Entertainment. My name is Chris, and in case you don't know, I review movies and I rank them on a scale of 0 to 100 in increments of 5. Today, we are going to be talking about the first movie that I have seen in theaters in 6 months, Unhinged. This movie was just released a couple days ago in the theaters. I haven't been to the theaters since late February when I saw The Call of the Wild, and that was before I even started my YouTube channel, several months actually. So I finally got to go to the movies today. It felt nice. It felt really, really nice just to be in there again. You know, even though I didn't have high expectations for what I was about to watch, just being in the movie theater again, it was so nice, man. It was so nice. I loved it. And when the movie was about to start, I was so excited. I was like, dude, I'm actually going to watch a movie in the movie theater. Like, it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Don't take things that you love for granted, man. And I think COVID really taught us that. Now I would like to point out that since this is a new movie, normally before I review movies, I like to watch them more than once. But if the movie's new, then I won't. I'll just watch it and then I'll review it so that I can get the review out to people for this brand new movie. That's what I did with The Wrong Missy. I watched it once because it was still sort of new, and then I released my video. So it's the same thing. So if I ever do watch this again, my opinion on this is subject to change. But yeah, this is just a first viewing opinion. Okay, so Unhinged was released 2 days ago, and it stars Russell Crowe, Karen Pistorius, Jimmy Simpson, Gabriel Bateman, and Austin P. McKenzie. It was directed by Derek Borte, and it was produced by, there's quite a bit here, Guy Botham, Kristen Burbell, Anders Erdane, Christopher Milbury, Peter Touche, and Gareth West. And this movie tells the story of a lady who is portrayed by Karen Pistorius. She really doesn't have her life together. She's always late for stuff. She loses her job early on in the movie. She's struggling financially. She's got a lot of crap going on, right? She's going through a really rough divorce. And she is trying to get her son to school on time. Okay, but there's a lot of traffic. Wherever this area is that she lives, there's a lot of congestion. Like, for some reason, there's always so much traffic where she lives. So she's trying to get her son to school on time. And on the way there, she stops behind this truck. Okay, and they're at this red light. Okay, and then the light turns green, and the truck doesn't move. And so she honks the horn at him, but she didn't just honk the horn. No, she blares on this horn, and she finally just goes around him. Okay, so he pulls up next to them, and he tries to like sort of the guy in the truck. He starts to sort of just talk it out with them, you know, like, I'm sure you didn't really mean to honk that hard at me, like, you know. And she's like, yeah, I did. Okay, because she's in a bad mood, obviously, and so he's already in a bad mood because he went through a rough divorce himself. Okay, and so he decides to take out all of his frustrations on this lady, and he gives her the worst day of her life. He stalks her. They communicate a lot over the phone. He kills people that she knows. He kills innocent people in the process. Like, it's a one-day thriller movie, and it's pretty crazy. First of all, the opening scene of this movie. Let's get my pros with it. So the opening scene of this movie really establishes Russell Crowe's character. Russell Crowe, that leads me to my second pro. Russell Crowe in this movie, he is something, man. I mean, you can tell that he was sort of having fun with this because he's really just in this, man. Like, he really steals the show here. I mean, he's not even the main character of the movie. You know, Karen Pistorius' character is the main character. He's the supporting character. And she's really great, too. All the performances in the movie are really good, but especially those two. But Russell Crowe, he really steals the show. He was phenomenal in this movie. It was a really big surprise. I didn't see this movie but I know that Kevin James was recently in a movie where he portrayed a neo-Nazi, and I heard that he gave a really surprising performance in that, and I feel the same way about this. Even though I didn't see, I heard that about it, and I feel like this is the same thing. He was really, really good in this. There's some great action in this movie. There's a lot of car chases and cars that are crashing and getting flipped over and stuff. Great stuff. There's even a fight scene in this movie that's pretty good. There's some really brutal deaths in this. This is kind of a gory film, man. No, it is a gory film. It's a pretty gory film. And there are some wicked deaths in this movie. The deaths in this movie... Okay, if you ever seen Men in Black... Remember when Will Smith touches that little ball and it goes flying all around Men in Black headquarters, breaking everything that it touches, and he's like... That's exactly the reaction you will have to a lot of the deaths in these movies, because they are gnarly. It's very suspenseful. There's a lot of good suspense in this film. And there's a lot of good... the tension in this movie is really good too. There's always this tension between I keep looking because I keep forgetting her name, Karen Pistorius and Russell Crowe, because this movie reminds me of Die Hard. Ever seen Die Hard? You know that John McClane and Hans Gruber, the hero and the villain, they don't really see each other until close to the end of the film, but they have a relationship all throughout it because they keep communicating on these walkie-talkies while John McClane is running around killing his henchmen. Well, it's sort of like that. They keep communicating through a cell phone, except the villain is running around killing people the hero cares about. And innocent people as well in the process. And so it reminds me of Die Hard in that way. And so that tension between those two characters is always there. Always. The ending of this movie I thought was pretty great. And Karen Pistorius, she delivers this one-liner at the end of the movie that some people would say is kind of cheesy, kind of like 80s, 90s-ish, but I thought it was pretty awesome. It was honestly better than I expected. It really was. I went into this with pretty low expectations. I went into this thinking, it'll be alright. And it was alright. But it was actually better than I thought it would be. So, one of the things that's cool about this film is that Russell Crowe's character, he doesn't care whether or not he dies. Because he feels that he has nothing left. And so, he's essentially going to spend what he perceives, I guess he perceives it to be like his last day on Earth or something, I don't know, but like, basically for him, he has no rules. There's no rules for him. And so he doesn't care all throughout this game where he's torturing this poor woman. He doesn't care whether or not he lives or dies. She even threatens the police with him at some point, and he's like, oh, suicide by a cop, cool. Like, he doesn't care. And so that opens up so many possibilities that you can do with that character. And they took advantage of that in this movie. And one of the things I liked about this movie is that it keeps the police involved. With a movie like this, it's hard to write because because a lot of times in movies like this, you'd be like, why didn't you just do that instead of this? That would have been so much smarter. You know, you could have just gone to the cops, like, it would have been so much easier. Well, this movie, I think they thought of that, and so they keep the cops there, but they're always one step behind Russell Crowe. And so, in that sense, you're not constantly like, why don't you just go to the police? Because it keeps the cops there so that you don't say that. It's a lot of fun. It's a serious movie, but it's not too serious. You could tell that they were having some fun with this, and it is fun to watch. And my last pro with this, before I get into my cons, is that the ending of this movie isn't exactly happy. Because, basically, if you watch the movie, you'll see what I mean. But the ending of this movie, I guess you could sort of say it's a happy ending, but when you think about it, it's really not. And I respect that about it, because that was kind of risky. They took a risk, and I think it paid off. So my cons for this is that there's some plot holes in this. And one of them is that, she goes to, her mom's house at some point, and she gets out of her car, and she just has this clicker to open up her mom's garage door, and I'm like, why do you randomly have that? That's so convenient. So there's things like that, and there's also some poor choices made by some of the characters. Like there's one scene where like Cara Pastorius' her character's brother, like he hears stuff, like really suspicious stuff going on in his house, and instead of grabbing his cell phone and leaving and calling the police, he grabs a knife and starts to investigate. Characters do some stupid stuff like that. Or there's even like this scene where like she's in a gas station, right? And she tells there's a customer and the clerk, and she tells them, I think the guy outside is stalking me. And she's like, you want to call the cops? And the guy's like, nah, that'll just make them mad. Here, let's do this instead. What? Yeah, that's really dumb. So anyway, there's a few plot holes in this movie, and there's some logical issues with the characters' choices in it. But I guess that's sort of to be expected with a movie like this, you know what I mean? But I really liked it. I didn't love it. It's not a great movie by any means. It's not a masterpiece. It's just a movie that wants to have fun, and it was a fun one-time watch for me. And I am going to give Unhinged a 75 out of 100. Thank you so much for watching. Wow, this is actually my longest review yet. Check that out. That's pretty cool. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Potty Player Entertainment for more, and hit the like button. Leave movie review suggestions down in the comments down below. Follow me on Instagram at Potty Player Entertainment for channel updates, and much love, guys. Don't do road rage. Road rage is bad.